Ladies and gentlemen, I finally done a big boy activity. I have officially acquired a driver's license. Your boy is an adult now. For you guys watching in America, that might not seem like that big of a deal because I know a lot of you guys get like cars and you get your driver's license and stuff by the age of like 16, 17. I'm 23, so that's probably not impressive to you. But in Ireland, although you can go for your license at like 16, 17, I think maybe even 18, I'm not sure, I don't know the rules. It's not very common for people to get their license at that age, although there is people who do it. A lot of the time, most of the people that do get their license in cars and stuff by that age around here are coming from well-off families. Because although I don't know what the pricing's like over in America, over here it is wild. It's around about like 550 to 600 quid for 12 lessons alone. It's also about 50 quid to get your theory test before you can even apply for your lessons. Then there's a huge waiting list for the driving test itself. It's a whole can of worms, and then fucking tax and insurance and cars, and oh my god, man, I'm getting stressed even just thinking about it. But I have finally done it, and I have been stressing, man. Like, honestly, this thing had taken over my psyche for so long, and it just got worse and worse and worse leading up to the test, the closer it got. Because it went from being like a pipe dream to, oh shit, this is actually happening. And I went through a long process. Like most people going for their license in Ireland right now, it is horrible. COVID really affected like the driving scene quite substantially, my guy. I done my theory test, which is the first thing that you have to do for everything. I don't know if it's the same everywhere else. It's just questions about the road and what you should do if there's a tractor in front of you. I done that 2.5, maybe even 3 years ago. And then the real problems began. Took me months, I mean months, to find a driving instructor, and to be honest, I did put it off for a little bit, so that's all on me. Then it took me about 4 months, 5 months, if even, to finish my lessons. And then I instantly applied for the driving test, which, my goodness gracious me, it took them 9 months to give me a test date. And they didn't even do it out of the goodwill of their heart. I had to do a trick where you go onto the site, you change your test center to somewhere in the countryside of Ireland, and then within like a day or two, you would get a test date for the test center closest to you. So they have the fucking tests available. But when I got it, I was relieved. I was happy. I was like, yes, I'm finally going to get this weight off my fucking shoulders. No, they had another whammy to hit me with. Literally 3 days before my test day, they texted me and said, due to unforeseen circumstances, we have cancelled your test. You fucking what now? In the moment, it was a sigh of relief because I was like, oh, so I have a bit longer now to prepare for this test, which in hindsight, I'm glad I did. But luckily enough, about a week after, I did end up getting another test day because I thought I was going to be put on the waiting list again and have to wait a few more months. I was fuming. But then I done what we call a pre-test, where you go with your instructor and you basically do it as if it is a test. And oh my good god, my friends, I was horrific. I was so anxious, I was so paranoid, I was second guessing every single maneuver I done, I was overcomplicating everything, it was a mess. At the end of the pre-test, I could have failed the real test 4 times over. But instead of me taking it as like getting the piece of paper, looking at everything I got wrong and then improving on it, I mentally shut down. I thought I was done. I was like, there's no point in me even doing this. I'm shit at this. I can't do it. I was sent into a state of depression. I'm not even joking. That like turned my brain off for a solid like 2 or 3 days. I was so tempted to just call it a day and just cancel the test and not actually do it. Because that's how my fucking little ADHD brain deals with failure. It makes me feel like I'm a failure, which just isn't the case. You know, after being a bit down in the dumps for a few days, I was like, fuck it, done a few more lessons and got my test. I passed my fucking test. And for those of you guys watching from Ireland, the test itself is not really that scary. I don't know if it was just me, and it could just be the instructor I got, but basically the entire test was this. I drove out of the test center, drove down the road about 5 minutes, went around the roundabout, took the first right after the roundabout, and then the rest of the test was in a housing estate. I'm not even kidding you. The test itself was like 25 minutes. I was in a housing estate most of the time. I had to do the 3-way turn there, reverse around the corner, all of that jazz. It was crazy to me how much easier the test was compared to everything else I had done before, like the lessons and the pre-test. Because in the pre-test, he took me along actual main roads. I went out for an hour with my instructor just before the test. We kind of done just like a little bit of a warm-up lap, and it didn't go well. I was shitting myself, I was nervous, and every time I made a mistake, it made my nerves that much worse, which in turn resulted in more mistakes. And I went into the tests expecting to fail, which I'm sure most people do. But while I was waiting in the waiting area, I had a little internal dialogue with myself, a little bit of a therapy session, if you will. I went into the test center, sat down with the tester. She asked me a load of questions about the road signs and all that shit, and I got pretty much every single one of them wrong, which infuriated me, mainly because the entire day before that and the day before that, I was studying these signs, and I got them wrong. I was pissed. But I'm just happy it's done. As I said, it really did take up my entire fucking mentality for so long. Every time I wanted to sit down and record a video or wanted to, you know, go out and do things with my friends, it was always on my mind. And I have a huge problem with self-confidence. I'm pretty sure it is like kind of like a tree branch off of ADHD. I'm not sure. But I've always had that problem with self-confidence and not believing that I can do things. And this was a real fucking test for that mentality, because the entire time I was thinking that, I was thinking I'm not going to be able to do it, I'm not going to be able to pass, like this is too much for me. Basically just putting myself down, and it would honestly put me in horrific moods. Like I just didn't want to do anything because of it. And I became a hermit for a little bit. I became lazy, I became avoidant. The stress was just honestly taking over me, and I don't deal well with stress. But honestly, due to those things, it has made me even more proud of myself, because I actually done it. I fought through that mentality and I got it done. And it kind of made me realize that just because I think that stuff doesn't mean that it's true. And I feel like that honestly is going to help me a lot in the future, because a lot of things in my life I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that when it gets to that point, like paying rent, taxes, all that shit. But I honestly have a bit more confidence in all of that stuff for the future because of the fact that I pushed through and done this, you know? And unfortunately, it did have an impact on my channel as well. I wasn't putting out content as much because, you know, I wasn't in the best mindset. I didn't really want to be putting out videos where I was just actually like zombified on the inside, you know? I don't like doing that. And I am very sorry about that, and I am definitely gonna need to work on, you know, managing stress levels and actually doing stuff other than worrying about shit, you know? If you've watched this much, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. This is kind of like a life update, I guess. I haven't done one of these in a while. Not much has been happening, you know? If you've been watching the channel for a little bit, thank you all so fucking much. It means so much to me. And I just want to add, anyone who is watching this video that is going to do their driving test, no matter where you're from, I wish you all the best of luck. And if you're stressing out about it, just remember that it's not going to be as bad as it is in your own head. Just get out there, sing a song in your head while you're driving around, whatever song makes you comfortable, and just do your best. If you fail, you can always go back and do it again. But yeah, folks, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like, subscribe, all that good shit. And with that all said, I will talk to yous later. Have a good one, folks.